but to have zero coverage on some of the networks for a month, to me, was just shocking, because these were very serious allegations with corroboration.
I'm John Clemens, USA Radio News.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish retailer now.
800-610-5739. 800-610-5739. That's 800-610-5739. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
President Trump says the federal government will buy $3 billion worth of agricultural products from the nation's farmers starting next week, announcing the move in a weekend tweet saying the USA will buy dairy, meat, and produce for food lines and kitchens. A record-breaking cold spells gripped the eastern seaboard during this Mother's Day weekend, a polar vortex bringing 10 inches of snow to parts of northern New England and flurries as far south as Manhattan yesterday. The weather also causing problems from the Midwest to the Appalachians. Syracuse, New York, one of the many cities in the Northeast, has set temperature records for the day, according to the National Weather Service. ESPN is bringing in new announcers for its Monday Night Football production.
Little tap pass to Gurley, who gets the edge inside the 10 and scores the touchdown. Todd Gurley.
That's Joe Tessitore. He and his partner Booger McFarland are out of those posts as hosts of the Monday Night Football broadcasts, but they will be remaining in a prominent role at the network, according to reports. The New York Post saying that there's no definite choice for who will replace them. The first Monday Night Football game is a doubleheader this year, featuring the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Giants and then the Tennessee Titans at the Denver Broncos. That'll come on September 14th. Learn more about USA Radio News by going to usaradio.com. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
Inspired by our German artisan roots, Süß Caramel has redefined the art of caramel making. Slow crafted, all natural, and preservative free with uncompromising standards. Cooked gently in small batches to create velvety textures and layers of flavor like no other caramel you've ever experienced. It is our sincere hope that you enjoy each Süß Caramel as much as we enjoy making it for you. I'm Tammy Fahey, and I never tire of hearing how much people enjoy my caramels. Please visit SüßCaramel.com to place your order and to see a listing of stores that carry our amazing caramels.
It's 9:06.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Hermann, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Hermann.
Good morning and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I'm your host, Lois Hermann, and I'm here to inspire you with positive messages as we celebrate everyday people who are making a difference in our world. When we focus our thoughts and energies on what we love to do, we create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness from kindness to healthy habits and simple happiness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you're inspired by today's show. And today, this is the first day that we're doing a live stream on YouTube. And so we're very excited. This is a very much more efficient and a high quality way of doing this. So we'll be able to post this to Facebook afterwards. And if you're listening, doing something weird. So I'm sorry. If want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also please click the little bell just to make sure that that you get notified of all future shows. So, meanwhile, I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. I hope you're celebrating today by feeling grateful for all those who you have had the opportunity to mother in this life and those that have mothered you. It doesn't matter if you're a male or if you've never birthed a child. If you're the type of person who nurtures and cares for others, you embody mother energy, and we appreciate you. There have been several mothers in my life that nurtured me when I needed it most, and I'm ever grateful for them. Be sure to thank those who were there for you when you least expected it. And you may never know what your mother went through for you, so be sure to share your appreciation, because mother's words sink deep into the minds of impressionable children. One of my hypnosis clients had a lifetime struggle with weight issues, and in a regression, she went back to a time when she was 3 years old. Baby brother had arrived on the scene, and she took on the role of mother's little helper. Mother kept telling her to be a big girl, and she took it literally. So to a 3-year-old mind, bigger meant larger. And so once she understood the origin, she could change her mind talk to say, be smart, make good choices. She shed dozens of pounds once she understood, and she could change the mind talk. So as a mother, be very aware of the words you use as for anyone, mother, father, friend. Instead of yelling or using harsh words, when you wish to correct someone, end with a positive. For instance, when you finish your classwork, you'll have plenty of time for play or this. And this is an NLP, neurolinguistic programming embedded suggestion that works beautifully. So you always want to say what you wish for someone to do, and do it with kind words. So what are you telling yourself? Your inner child longs to hear words of encouragement. The teen self needs to be validated. So during this time of stress and change, we all need to tell ourselves, it's going to be all right. I've learned to say, only good will come of this. Sometimes I believe it, and other times it's a little stretch. But flip the switch and change the script in your mind to what you choose. You are in control of your choices, of your mind talk at every minute. Flip the script, change to embrace what you choose to tell yourself. And, some of us have had fabulous mother figures, and others didn't have such great mother figures. So if you didn't have a wonderful mother nurturer in your life, be one for yourself. Tell yourself everything you wished your mother had said. Find a photo of the younger you, place it on your desk, and smile at her or him regularly. Tell her or him, I know you're amazing. I'm so proud of you. You can do it. The inner you thrives on words of encouragement. So look yourself in the eye in the mirror, smile at yourself, and say, I'm glad you're here. You're awesome. You got this. You can do this. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Hermann at WSMN 1590. We're here every Sunday morning sharing insights with you from the mind, body, spirit perspective. And also, we're here to celebrate people that we know are doing amazing things in our world. This whole show is about inspiring you with people who inspire me, and I am enjoying shining the light on them, celebrating them, so that we can share what they're doing to inspire you. So today, I have the great pleasure of welcoming someone who encourages others naturally. Grandmother Blue Crow is the quintessential mother figure who spontaneously mothers everyone around her, whether giving witty anecdotes or telling fabulous stories. She's an enchanting gift to all who know her. Please help me welcome an incredible businesswoman, wise medicine woman, mother, grandmother, and dear friend. Grandmother Blue Crow, also known as Auntie Crow, also known as Noreen Powers. Welcome, dear grandmother. Is she ready? Art, is she ready? Okay. She's coming on the show right now. So grandmother and I go back many years. We met at A Course in Miracle. I used to host A Course in Miracles in my house, and she came as a guest one time, and I was just so enchanted with her that it's been a lifetime journey. She's also been very much an important part of the journey with the Chronicles of Hope. She's been sort of like a mother figure to me. She has been the spiritual mother for this project, and a lot of praying, a lot of encouraging me when I've gotten into that funky mode. And she would always have something inspiring to say. So welcome, Grandmother Blue Crow. Are you there?
I am. Good morning and happy Mother's Day, Lois.
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to you. So tell us why you have so many names. Tell us about you.
Well, me. I've been called a lot of things, but in the Native tradition, we honor that we are not the same person throughout our life that we are when we are born. And so at the time of our birth, we are not named prior to our birth because no one knows who we are until they connect with our energy. So the elders of the tribe are the ones who are consulted at the time following the birth of the baby, at some time after they consult the Creator, and the name is brought for the child at that time. And then at various times of life following that, different names are given in ceremony to show the journey that that child and or adult is going to be taking. That's what their destiny is.
That makes perfect sense, because each different child has a different energy when they're born, and it is interesting to see that the name is matched to the type of person that child is.
Yes, exactly. And many times when you're given a name, you're like, oh, really? And it's because it's not who you are, but it's who you're seen as becoming.
Interesting. So your birth name was Noreen, and then when you came into and you actually tell us a little bit about your background, because you do have Native roots through your father. Is that correct?
That is correct. My father was Northern Cheyenne by heritage through my grandmother, through his mother. And I didn't find that out until my very late 20s. And at that point, began to really investigate, because when I was told that, when my grandmother told me that, I was very excited, because it explained a lot to me about who I was, that I never understood why I was so different from so many other people. And it helped me to understand very deeply my connection with spirit through my Native culture.
Well, you also have connection with spirit through your Irish culture. You told me a story about your Irish grandmother.
I do. And I was indoctrinated through my Irish culture all of my life, or at least until I was 18 when my grandmother passed away. She was my second heart, actually. And she started me on a path of healing through spirit when I was not quite 4. I was 3.5 perhaps. And my grandmother used to have headaches, which we all knew, but she was very good about not focusing on them. And she said to me one day, sitting in the kitchen next to her big black wood stove, and in her lovely black rocking chair, which is passed down now through the family, she said, "Come over here, child, and put your hands on my head. Your grandma's got a terrible headache, and I can't make it go." And so I went over to her, and she took my hands very gently and put them on her temples. And she said, "Oh, there you are, love. Now take the pain from my head and put it in your hands. Ah, that's a good girl. That's a good lass. Thank you. Now take it out to the rose garden, love, and give that pain through your feet and through your hands. Hold your hands like this." And she showed me about radiating energy. Give it to the roses, love. For they love the pain. It's what gives them thorns and makes their flower smell so sweet.
That is amazing. What an amazing story at 3 years old.
I know.
Wow. Wow.
And subsequent to that, another time, not long after, I was doing that again for her, and my grandfather peeked around the kitchen door and he said, "Oh, there you are, lass, helping your grandma. And I see you have the wee folk helping you. Isn't it wonderful?"
What a treasure. What a treasure. Yeah. So you've been a healer from when you were wee.
Just transmitting the energy as it was directed. I don't believe any of us truly are healers. I think we're only just gatekeepers.
Exactly. Facilitators for the healing journey. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was one of the names that was given to you later, was a medicine crow woman. Is that correct?
Yes. When I realized what my heritage was, we were already in the thought process of moving out west, because education at that time in the part of New Hampshire we lived in was being stretched pretty thin. And I wasn't happy with what was going to happen with my children in public education. So I did a little research and found out that in the top 50 school systems in the United States, 10 were in the greater Denver area.
Wow.
So we moved there. We put our house on the market. I had done a prayer to see if it was time, and my prayer was, "God, if we're supposed to go, we'll get a great price for this house." And I had set that price very high compared to what we had paid for it and put into it. And I put a 3x5 recipe card on the front porch by the door, on the screen by the door, and that it was for sale. And I put the price on there, and we had 4 people fighting over buying our home price.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, God, I guess we're going. So
that's what you call master manifesting, right?
And divine intervention.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I don't take credit for any of that.
No.
I just am open to hearing and seeing and feeling.
And following the guidance.
Takes a lot of the burden off making those choices.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you have so you moved to Denver, but I'm sorry, I'm interrupting your flow of your story. You actually, when you got to Denver, is that when you started a business? But you had a business when you were younger. You got involved in business at a very young age.
I've been very independent most of my life. My father taught me how to hang wallpaper and paint because he didn't like to do it. And my mom was pretty renowned for changing her mind. So I started doing that, and then the neighbors would see that Mom had new wallpaper, and where did it come from? And so they would ask me if I would come hang wallpaper for them or paint a room for them. That was at about 14. And I just kind of progressed from there. I just enjoy very much the creative process of working with people to manifest what it is they are explaining that they want, and not doing those changes. I was ending up building homes. I didn't build houses. I built homes and interacted with the people in advance quite a bit to determine what exactly it was that they were seeking in their home to make them comfortable.
Wow.
So I'm pretty independent. I'm not a very good person for taking orders, but I will take suggestions.
Gotcha.
And if I put myself in an environment where there are rules, I'm willing to mind the rules as long as I know what they are. And if they're not rules I can mind, then I'm willing to go somewhere else.
And you ended up developing a business where a construction business with over 400 employees, right? I mean, we're not talking about a small little business. This was a sizable business.
Well, there were five small aspects of that, and that made it much easier to manage. Easier might be not the correct word, but it certainly kept me busy, and we were able to support ourselves 2,500 miles away from family and with no secondary support, as I was a single mother. So I'm grateful for all of those opportunities. I met wonderful, wonderful people there. And that was the period of my life where we took care of what needed to be done, and we did it with as much cooperation and joy as we could. Certainly were challenges, but we met them and moved forward. I'm very, very proud of my children. In fact, this afternoon, my eldest daughter has put together a Zoom call to connect a good portion of all of my family with me for Mother's Day.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So
Wonderful.
that's
You've got
exciting.
you have quite the family too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I had a 75th birthday party a few years ago, and at that we had 24, and they weren't all there. So, and there's actually a couple of new great-grandchildren since then. So it's very exciting.
Wonderful. So even though they can't be there in person, the Zoom and the technology is actually connecting people, which is a really good thing in many ways.
But it is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not ideal for
No.
me. It's not hands-on and hugs, but we're not doing that anyway right now.
Right,
We're saving the world by isolating. And
Exactly.
I'll be glad when this phase lessens a little bit, because I think many people are needing that one-on-one contact, and they seem to benefit from it, as do I.
And
It's all in divine order. My favorite
Absolutely.
thing. All in divine order.
And that way we're not fighting it. We're in the flow and allowing the changes to happen, because the changes then become organic. They become natural. And when you're guided, you just allow yourself to go. So as you transitioned to Denver with your children, then you ended up getting more involved with the Native culture. Is that correct?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I connected with community there to a great extent, and they were loving and kind and sweet to me, and I benefited from that so very, very much. And then, we moved forward, and I met my sweet walk beside 33 years ago. In a couple of weeks, it'll be 33 years.
That's a magical number.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasts for a whole year. Isn't that wonderful?
That is wonderful.
Yeah, so it's all very interesting how life lets you thrive and flourish if you get out of the way.
If you get out of your own way, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So then we came back here in 1998 when my father passed away. We came back for his ceremony, and my mom was more comfortable having us stay in the area for an extended time. So we moved back here. We had moved to Texas, and we moved back here, and I got really involved with Reiki. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I became involved with hospice. I'm a hospice volunteer and have been since 1999. And I conduct Native ceremonies here. I am a minister. My husband and I both studied under my uncle, who was a highly spiritual person, who was the former Southern Baptist minister, who started a faith called Lively Stone Fellowship. And we studied with him for about 3 years, and we both became pastors, ministers in that culture. So he was quite an amazing man, and he was a great conductor of healing. He's actually world-renowned. He's in the Time Life Book of Healers. His bio is in there. Very beautiful man, very tall, 6'3", long white flowing hair.
What is his name?
Willard Fuller.
I've heard of that. It's interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
He was on several programs. He was on the Johnny Carson show and did dental healings on the Johnny Carson show and several other shows as well.
And how do you use your ministry? I know that you work with people in transition, people in recovery.
Yes. Yeah, on any level that it's needed, really. I do ceremonies. I have a ceremony coming up for a young woman who recently lost a child. And before its birth, she lost the child through miscarriage, and she's suffering.
Sure.
And we will do a ceremony together at the water to help to bring peace to this lovely family and to bring assurance that this child has transitioned fully back into spirit and is with the Father.
Beautiful.
So that, and I do weddings, which I love to do. I'm also a justice of the peace, just to make it legal in some states.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity as far as hospice goes. For me, it's the greatest honor you can be given is to be present when a person's spirit is leaving their body. And to be with that person and or their family is quite a gift.
It is. It's incredibly powerful, and I have been there several times myself at the transition time, and there's this beautiful sense of peace and healing that happens when people are ready to transition, and that's part of the inspired journey that those of us that are doing that sort of work do. It's to help them be ready and to comfort them and the family as the transition into grace is it happens.
I was surprised when I went to take my teachings at the hospice facility. One of the questions they ask you is, how long do you think the average stay is for people in hospice? And I thought, 3 months, whatever. And actually the average is 3 days.
Really? Wow.
And I said, really? And it isn't the person transitioning who's so reluctant. Most of the time it's the family who wants to just hang on for as long as they can.
Exactly.
And when people do get into hospice, I think the family in that environment sees the wondrous things that happen when a person gets to express their own will.
Right.
And if they've chosen to go, the services provided by hospice help the family to understand that it's all in order. And if it's a situation where there's a great deal of pain involved, they facilitate the pain alleviation to make it a more gentle transition for the patient.
I've been with people who have gone through hospice in the past, and I swear, when you talk about earth angels, the hospice people who work in hospice, they are the earth angels. They are amazing, wonderfully heart-centered souls. So thanking that these are as I was saying, not everyone, even if someone has not birthed a child, these are the mothers, then the grandmothers, and it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. These are the mothering spirits that are nurturing people as they transition. So
it's very powerful. We were mentioning about on the promo, we talked about the stages of life, and my native understanding is there are 4 stages of life. There is the child, and then the maiden for the women, and the adult, and then the crone, CRONE. And they each have their own divine aspects of existence. And I've been thinking about it as we spoke about it. I've thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
And
please share.
I love the child aspect, and children don't stop being children at a certain age.
Right.
Hopefully we can maintain that center of childhood within us to find the joy of just existing. And many people, particularly those that I sit with in drug and alcohol recovery centers doing Native American ceremony and prayers, many of those people, these people, because we're all together, we're all one, didn't have a nurturing childhood and are seeking something that they've lost within themselves.
Yes.
And when we talk about it's there, it's just hidden, and help to find that gateway that helps them see that they are complete and that they may not have had that in this lifetime, but a way to reawaken that gift from Creator they had when they arrived is to give it to someone else.
Yes.
Male or female, be the nurturing spirit that was missing in their own lives.
That's right. And
I see that awakening often. And when that light comes on, it's like you just turned on a 300-watt bulb. They just seem to glow. Actually, I'm all goosebumps telling you this in some of my memories. It's fascinating how deep that goes. And
The need to be loved and nurtured is inherent in all of us. And that was one of the things that I was saying even earlier, is to tell, if you didn't have someone that nurtured you, you can nurture yourself by telling yourself the things that you wished were told to you. And as you said, nurturing another gives you that feeling, because as you give, in the giving you receive. And so you're receiving that same nurturing as you nurture another. It feels good. It feels natural. And the child is that inquisitive, excitable, questioning spirit that wants to, really explore life. And many times, if that's not encouraged, that part of the person shuts down. And we need to encourage people to be inquisitive, be playful, be excited, instead of, sit down, shut up, speak when you're spoken to. Those sorts of words will inhibit that creative, spirited child. And we need to allow our child to come out and play.
Absolutely. And I find that when we're sitting in circles, and I observe people sitting in circles because it's part of my responsibility in conducting ceremony, when one person may say something and I'll see a little spark come from somebody else, and they're thinking, oh, I thought I was the only one going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates a kinship, and it creates a sense of being able to share more about themselves in order to possibly help someone else. I see that transition often, and it's very exciting to me. It's very exciting to me to see that.
It is exciting to know that you're not alone, that other people share similar situations or similar feelings. One of the things that you said early when you were talking about that you felt different, many people that I know of that are on that healing journey or as healing facilitators, many of them have felt different. They feel like they just don't fit in. And that's a very common feeling as we start to explore our roots, our spirituality, our true inner self. It, especially as we move into the teen years, the maiden who's comparing to one another, then we start to doubt ourselves even more.
Well, and that's such a difficult time for both male and female, that
Mm-hmm.
particular time of life when your body's going through so many radical changes, and you want to belong and you don't want anybody to bother you all at the same time. Just leave me alone. No, wait, I want to have company.
Right.
I don't want to do this with you. I want to do this by myself. No, I don't want to be alone today.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just call me so I'm not alone. Oh, just leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
As parents of teens, boy, people can sure relate to that.
Yes.
It's like everybody becomes bipolar in an overnight snap of his fingers.
Yeah.
And it's with enough leeway and enough guidance, things can develop and people find out that, there was a cartoon, I think it was a bumper sticker or something I saw quite a while ago, at least 30 or 40 years ago. And it showed this little character person, and the words were, God didn't make no junk.
I've seen that. Yes.
And that resonated with me because so many people who are told they are junk
Mm-hmm.
during the formative years, particularly when they're very young children, up to the age of 4, they're like sponges.
Mm-hmm.
And we soak that all in. Everything that transpires in that period of our time soaks in very deeply somewhere in our inner spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are told we are worthless and not worth hearing and
Mm-hmm.
just go away and leave me alone, just be quiet.
Yeah.
Go do something, Go, 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 go. So when we discover that we are complete, that we do have that beautiful inner light, sometimes it's shifted over by life's events, either those we physically caused ourselves or we're physically reacting to,
Mm-hmm.
we are still covering that light with a crust.
Right.
And if we can find a pathway to understand that Creator's still in the center of it,
Mm-hmm.
that we're just not able to see it now, and to chip away at that crust, pretty soon it becomes like a bushel basket with the light shining through the slats.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we can blow that crust off. And boy, we sure see people really contributing to society and to their own well-being by valuing their own self-worth.
That is
Very
so
powerful.
true. That is so true. And I just wanted to let the listeners know that you are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Hermann. And we're speaking with Grandmother Blue Crow. Also, many of you know her as Auntie Crow. I am honoring her by calling her a name that was given to her that she doesn't tend to use as often. But to me, she is grandmother, and I'm delighted to have her with us today, sharing amazing insight. And we're talking about the different phases of life: the child, the teen, or the young person, the maiden, in the feminine. And you're talking about the crust that gets over us, that inhibits the light, and then the cracks that happen, and then we shine. And then I know from my experience, then there are certain things that happen that trigger some of that old memory, and there comes that crust again. And we kind of hide in that little, we retreat into that crusty shell, and then we have to use the tools that we've been given to break through again. And it's a constant state of evolution. It's not, well, we're just always going to shine. Sometimes things happen and we go back into our shell like a turtle. And then we have to poke our head out again, using our wonderful spiritual tools to continue this journey.
Absolutely. And as I am now in the crone stage of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I treasure this because I get to just be comfortable in my skin
Mm-hmm.
and in my spirit and support others on their journey into croneship if they hopefully make it.
Mm-hmm.
To help them understand that today really is the only day we have,
Mm-hmm.
and make it count. Make it count for
Absolutely.
yourself. Make it count for others. Go to bed at night with a little prayer, which is one of my go-tos. Prayer is my first go-to when I have a question
Mm-hmm.
or I have a situation that I need to make some determination. Prayer is, for me, my first and last resort, and it seems to take care of all the middles.
Right.
So by understanding this source that I have, my faith is very deep and very old. I have questioned it on time. There is a saying that says, if God will take you to it, God will take you through it.
Right.
And I honor that, but sometimes I just wish that God didn't think I was quite so strong.
Well, somehow God knows that you are. It's the human in you that doubts that that's what I've experienced. It's the vulnerable me that doubts, and then I'll have those whispers saying, "You can do this. You've got this." And I love that. It's that the spiritual father, mother that encourage me along this journey. And we skipped from the maiden or teen to talking about the crone. Can you tell us your insight on the mother stage, as this is Mother's Day?
Well, the mother stage is a time for me. My personal memories was I had great responsibility, but I had great pride in my children with each of their accomplishments, and they're all very, very individual. They're fabulous, fabulous human beings. I'm very proud and honored to be able to claim them as my children. And they are kind, and they're caring, and they're loving, and I'm hoping that a good portion of that came through the training and teachings they had just by living at home together in a family.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very inherent part of who people become. And those who are not in that environment hopefully find a way to become that in spite of
Mm-hmm.
their upbringing, not because of their upbringing.
Right.
And I think it's a conscious choice when a person can come to understand they do not have to replicate what they were given.
That's right.
They can find and create for their children and grandchildren that which is the high road, the better way, the loving kindness, caring road.
Absolutely.
Motherhood has motherhood has a lot of file folders, so to speak, in the great filing system. It's the folder for each of the children. It's also the folder for the precepts of what you wish them to be able to learn, to accomplish about being good and forthright people, and yet not being pushovers, not having to be the one that's always walked on. Their name doesn't have to be Matt. They don't have to be stepped on all the time. That they're worthy of self-love and they're worthy of respect. And that when we grow into our self-confidence about what we expect from others, that's what they're going to give us. And if we let everybody steamroll us all the time and make us very weak-spined, then people have no reason to change how they initially treat us. And sometimes people treat us that way out of their own pain and their own deficiencies.
Exactly. And each
But we
child
can.
is unique and different, just as we were talking about the name that was chosen. Each
Right.
child is unique and requires different types of nurturing.
It does.
Yeah.
When I was given the name Medicine Crow Woman, I had had enough cultural teachings at that point that I also had the cultural history to understand that that was not a question. And I knew that name was going to require a great deal of time and effort. And I was raising children alone and I didn't have that time. And I said, oh, I don't think I want that name. And I was greeted with some very stern looks from elders. And the eldest of the elders said, it wasn't a question.
And you grew into it.
Yeah. And once I realized and came to understand that it wasn't who I was right then, but it was a pathway that my life was going to be directed on from spirit. And it just became easier. It just happened. There was time and there was the ability to manifest that responsibility and to fill it. So I had also been given the guidelines about not only prayer, but to remain in gratitude. Because when we're in gratitude, we're not all psyched up about what's missing. I have a very dear friend named Zelda who gave me some wonderful words at a gathering I went to with her that she was putting on. And she said, when we get caught up in a spiral where things seem to be always going wrong, instead of saying, ugh, what's next? Ugh, I can't take any more.
Right.
Instead of doing that, use these words, and I'm quoting her from 15 years or more ago. She said, look up and say, oh, what could be better than this?
Exactly.
And focus specifically on the path, the stepping stone we want to take out of that situation to make it better. Not ask for more to go wrong, but to seek what would be for us individually the next step to be right.
That's beautiful. It along the same lines as the friend that gave me the message, or the little mantra that I tell myself is, only good will come of this. If something is happening that's a challenge, instead of getting all stuck in the mire of, oh my God, oh, this is horrible, only good will come of this. I don't know what it is just now, and that's okay, but I'm shifting into that energy of hopefulness, into the energy of wonder, of how there's a lesson here, there's a learning, I need to pay attention, and where will we go from here? Instead of, oh, what will come, just change the tone and it will shift the energy.
Yes, it's true.
Yes.
And the other aspect of being in the crone phase now, and I think I was born a crone.
An old soul, many of us call it, an old soul, yes.
Just have the years to go along with the designation. But one of the finest aspects that I've learned over all these years is the power of listening And when I conduct healing circles or spiritual circles, we use a talking tool in the Native tradition of a talking circle. And I explain that the tool has two sides. And when you're holding it, you are the one who gets to speak. And we don't do any crosstalk. And when you're not holding it, you are the one who gets to actively listen. Not listen to make corrections, not listen to make suggestions, not listen to do anything except be focused on letting that person who's speaking truly know they are being heard. Because we want to be heard. And many times, even in today as adults, we're not heard. And we feel shut down. So that tool, the speaking tool, the talking tool, or talking stick, or talking feather, whatever we use. Sometimes I'll take a pelt with me. I have some amazing wolf hides. I have an Arctic wolf hide that people touch that, and I see them get goosebumps.
Nice.
Because of the energy that animal brings.
The animal, yeah.
And they were all of my pelts were not ever killed for sport. I would never do that. But the listening aspect is very powerful, and that was a gift also from my two favorite inspiring people in my life was my father and my Irish grandmother.
Yes.
Because they both listened, and I didn't realize that until very recently. That was their gift to me. They listened.
And that's wonderful. And most people do not get listened to or heard. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Native circles is the opportunity to share and to know that when you are sharing, other people are, as you said, active listening. They're not just thinking about how they're going to respond. They're being, they're fully being present and sending you their energy, the energy of being connected, of being there with you.
Absolutely. One of the other groups who inspire me so much are the people in recovery. They are the only people that I know in many, many, many people I've been blessed to come across in my life. They're the only people who are striving to live, who are willing to change everything they've ever done in order to get one more day. And the power of these warriors is sometimes overwhelming. They're so focused on recovery and finding the way out of the quagmire of the path they've been on. It's just, I leave most circles at recovery centers in tears. I'm so proud of them, each individually and collectively, for what they're doing. They're just literally putting it on the line to survive. And it's really quite emotional for me. It's quite emotional. And they inspire me to keep going. And they're just amazing.
One of the things that you had shared with me was about the difference between family and relatives. So what you're talking about in these circles are people who come together through their pain, through their common pain and background, and support one another as family, as true family. I know for myself, I have spiritual family who are there to support me versus relatives that don't quite get who I am.
Right. Well, we say that blood makes relatives, but spirit makes family.
There we go.
And not all relatives are family, and not all family are relatives.
Yes, you say that beautifully.
That was brought to me very succinctly, and it stuck. Because I can relate to both aspects of it. I love my family. I also love my relatives, but they're not all people. My relatives don't all get me.
That's right. Yeah.
And my family mostly does, but I don't think anybody really gets me. I don't think sometimes I fully even get myself.
You've had a lot of adventures and experiences. You've had a couple of near-death experiences, and I know one particular story that I've heard you tell where you really impacted and influenced a whole team of first responders with your basic passing and coming back.
Oh, yes. We had some interesting times. My very first death experience was about 35 years ago. I contracted rheumatic fever in Colorado. It's not on the brochures, but the greater Denver area in Colorado is the strep infection center of the universe. They have the highest rate of strep of any other city. And it's what rheumatic fever essentially is, a strep infection that goes to your heart instead of in your throat. It goes into your bloodstream. And I literally died. I was in the corner, up in the corner of the treatment room, observing people frantically trying to make that green line on the EKG go away, on the cardiac monitor go away, and I can still hear that. I can still hear that tone.
Wow.
With my heart no longer working, and they were performing CPR on me while they were getting the paddles out, and I remember the thought very clearly. Whoa, if that poor girl lives, she is going to have pain. They are breaking her ribs. And I didn't know that was me on the
Interesting, huh?
And they did. I have 4 broken ribs.
Oh, my goodness. You've had a lot of, I know that you walk bone on bone, and yet as many years as I've known you, and as much pain as you've been in, one of the things that inspires me about you is that you just always have a smile on your face, and you just have this energy that says, hey, I'm good. It's okay, versus the negative. I love that about you. How do you do it?
It's just pain.
It's just pain. Yeah.
And you can let it run your life, or you can put it in the pocket and carry on. I'm not one who quits. I could have years and years ago just given in to the pain. And yes, I have no more cartilage in any of my major joints, and I have no discs in my spine. I'm about 3 inches shorter than I was 10 years ago. And I have stuff to do. I don't have time to stop to acknowledge pain, which is symptomatic. I did take biofeedback about 30 years ago, maybe a little more than that, to manage the pain from rheumatoid arthritis, and I've had that almost 35 years. And by managing that pain, I did go through a wonderful session where we just translated the pain after a level 7. I carry a level 7 most of the time without any symptoms. But anything more than that, and my friends will see me yawning. And what we did was translate that pain into a yawn, which reminds me that the pain is amplified. And so whatever I'm doing to cause that, I should stop.
And maybe you should go out to the rose bush.
I go out to the rose bush all the time.
And there your grandmother will probably take the pain away for you. Yeah.
I think that circle is complete.
Yes.
I'm very blessed to be able to help others by reaching out and just letting them know that I'm here. I do make gratitude lists. I express gratitude every day because it keeps me on the track moving forward and not moving back. The other stuff is just, it's all temporary anyway. You might as well choose which part of the temporary you want. And we are missing our powwows this summer. We normally do 3 powwows in Ossipee, and we normally participate in the powwow there and also at the Mount Kearsarge Indian Museum. And because of Corona, most of the powwows in this area this summer are canceled.
Oh, that's such a shame.
It is. And so what's happening now that that's being made aware is I'm having more contact from people on Facebook. Can you believe I'm the only Auntie Crow on Facebook? Nobody else wants that name. I can't imagine.
Exactly. Well, crow medicine, what can you tell us a little bit about crow medicine?
Oh, crow medicine is walking with 1 foot in each world. I walk with 1 foot here and 1 foot in the beyond.
Yes.
And it's about balancing those 2 energies and balancing those 2 environments to walk in spirit while also walking in the temple of spirit.
Beautiful.
And it keeps it very smooth. And I do have also email. I hear a lot of email lately because of things being canceled. And my email is very simple. It's just auntiecrow@gmail.com.
And is that your Facebook page as well?
Just Auntie Crow.
Auntie Crow.
Right.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, it's very easy. So I have a lot of contact that goes on for quite a long time. I mean, I see people 10 and 12 and 15 years later who come up to me in the grocery store and they go, Auntie Crow, wow, it's so good to see you.
That's wonderful. Yes, it is always good to see you. And you just light, I've had lunch with you many times, and even the people who are there serving, you light their day. You just have this way of engaging with people and sharing your light. And it's contagious and it's magical. And I thank you.
Oh, I'm honored and blessed to have you in my very dear circle. Thank you.
Well, we're getting down to the wire, and I would love to ask, you've been part of the Chronicles of Hope journey. Do you have any thoughts to share with the listeners about Chronicles of Hope?
Oh my goodness. I would like to share with you, when we were having a visit a week or so ago, I got into spirit very deeply when I was visiting with you toward the end of our visit. And I would love to share what came through me for you and your team, if I might do that.
Please. We only have a minute left.
Okay, I'll speak fast. This is the quote, when it is from divine intervention, it is willed to be heard. It is necessary at this time for this information to be shared. I am proud of you for taking this journey, baby steps at a time, in between leaps of faith, to bring it into fruition. It is very important, and this is the time. The people involved in Team Hope, it is part of their purpose here and now. This is what we are here for. I could not give a lot of time directly into the process, but I sure put a whole lot of prayer into it. I honor every single person I have met who is connected to Team Hope. They are exemplary humans walking on this planet, fulfilling their spiritual quest and being brought together through the creation of this series of books. Part of their purpose of being here is to give what they have that needs to be given. Consider each person, perhaps, to be an instrument in the orchestra, and you are the conductor that has managed to bring it into form. I love you beyond the womb.
Thank you so very much, Grandmother Blue Crow, Auntie Crow, Noreen. I so appreciate you. And can we close with your very favorite quote?
Well, let's see. I have a couple, but there's one that really resonates right now, and that is from my grandmother. If you have a choice to be right or be kind, always be kind, and then you'll always be right.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you all, listeners. You've been listening to Hope with Lois Hermann. We've been speaking with Auntie Crow, Grandmother Blue Crow, and meet us here next week. Also, you can listen to this on YouTube. It will be there right now. Please subscribe and ring the bell, and you will be notified every time we add something to YouTube. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Meanwhile, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
On this Mother's Day 2020, there have been over 1.